All right. So what are we working on today? Just kind of co-working and hanging out a little bit. If you guys have any questions about systems or engineering or any of those things you want to ask questions about, let me know. If you guys just want to drop in and talk shop, we can do it. If you just want to check out Ranger Dog downstairs, we can do that too. We're just kind of hanging out and try to just get some more time in, letting people know that we've got a group out there that you guys can hang out with. So should be good. Yeah, and that's where we're at. Just kind of keeping our eyes on the monitoring in the system, make sure that everything's good. This week in the security engineering part of the course, we're going to be doing monitoring, so I got to get some of those labs put together today and tomorrow. So that'll be good. And the goal will be mostly for this week logs and log parsing type stuff. So I'll be focusing on that. In fact, real quick while we're sitting here, let's turn this off. Let's come over here. We're going to wipe this whole, we're going to reset the whole canvas here. Stop the session of sharing. Okay. And we're going to reset this canvas to nothing. And we're going to open our Linux security engineering course, which should be in dark mode. This should have the stuff that we need here. Yep. So that's what we're going to be focused on for this week for the monitoring section of the course. So that'll be what I'll be doing later. Not right now. I'm just kind of letting the potato rest for the morning, if you guys remember the old analogy. But this is what we're doing today. Yep. Hanging out, talking shop. So for sure, let me know if you guys have questions about any of this stuff or you want to see any of this. And we'll dig into that. But otherwise, I'm just co-working over here on my other screen. All right. Do a couple checks in our lab here. Okay. Let's do no. We should just do should give us all. So that should work, shouldn't it? Oh, list. That's what it is. I haven't used this tool in a bit. We'll get an YAML output. All right. I just wanted to see, so we had hosts of Hammer and hosts of Rocky. All right. I'm going to check the cluster, see how the nodes are doing, see if anything needs a reboot. I think we rebooted everything yesterday. 2 users on Rocky 10, that's fine. Means somebody's using one of the nodes, that's good. Get the Hammer check in, make sure that's going right. Alright, so all the Hammer boxes responded, that's good. It's actually funny when I do that right here, we should see all the logins from root on Hammer, on all the Hammer systems. So that's kind of funny. You'll see all the systems being connected to, so that's all good. You see Ansible Legacy invoked. or whatever raw commands that we're running, that kind of stuff. So it's good. Oh, Hammer 24. Well, we just rebooted Hammer 24, so that's fine. We expected him to be down. We can watch him boot up if we haven't done that lately. Some of you guys haven't seen that before. In the console, you'll see him boot up, and then as he comes up, he got all his information and booted over iPixie. So then he should come up. We'll go limit to Hammer 24 and just try the one. But he's down. So wait a minute. Give him a minute to come up. We'll make sure the cluster's healthy before we kind of go on with that. While that's going, we don't need that right now. We don't need that right now. So we'll come over here. We'll call this Bastion Fix, and we'll go work on fixing our okay. So you'll see the newest one was my one that I'm copying as a backup today. I put the date on the end of it. So that's good. And then we're going to modify the bastion.sh in a way that is going to be what we want for some of this going forward. So actually, before we do that, we need to go to root Ansible and we'll do it. I guess we can make it down in here if we really wanted to. Okay. Let's go grab like mount ROMs to here. That'll do what we want. That's fine enough. Yep. We'll move our mount ROMs over to all right. So now we got a Bastion updater, and we're going to go and modify the way that this little guy works here. And we're going to let this thing go do some of our, there's going to be some checks in here. So what we might make in here is, let's think of the tasks that we want to do. We want to do the, we don't have to do everything as individual roles and inherit it. It's just, it ends up being easier to maintain later if we do it that way. So we can work through that a little bit. Actually, I'm trying to think of how I want to do this. Yeah, we could make them. We could make them their own individual. Oh. All right. All right, everything's gonna already have checked if this system's up, so we're gonna check users on system. Check current users on system. And this will probably be, we'll probably use shell for this. Don't need any of these things. Register current users, and we'll use something like check this guy real quick. Okay. 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 And what are we doing? Name. We could just etch out the names too of what we're doing. So check current users. Check if there have been any logins. And that will be. However, the last command will need to be, so it's got all these other users. Oh yeah, that's because it's the werewolf system. Hold on, let's go look at the systems we're actually going to be on, which is Hammer, or any of these. That's funny. So last since, and then the lines since the. I think I can do display the line since the specified time. Display who were present at the specified time. That's actually interesting. Display system shutdown time format. Show timestamp in full format. No, I want to see. How many lines of show? Don't display the host name field. Alright, we could do since. I was looking for if we have. Oh, that's the only place reboot shows up. I wanted to see if we had last since reboot, but we don't. However, we do have that. The things that are on here, because we just rebooted today, are we don't need those things. And we want to exclude root for our check. Atticus now. Oh, nice. Over on YouTube, you said, hi, hope all is well. Been lagging behind a lot on the courses because I'm still getting grips using Linux and coming from Windows. Can I keep going? Yeah. Atticus, if you're going to finish the systems admin course, you can absolutely keep going. We're only in week 6 of that. There's 16 weeks to that, so you have plenty of time. 6 hours a week. So if you do 6 to 8 hours a week, you're probably going to, that's only enough to keep up. If you're trying to catch up, you're going to probably have to do more. Just because it's like there's a lot of work in the course. Like there's a lot. I mean, you could blow through labs pretty quick. I mean, you could probably get through everything in the course in an hour a week. I just don't think you'd learn anything, or you'd learn less than if you spent more time with it, like it's kind of designed for. But realistically, I think 6 to 8 hours a week is the average for people who want to kind of move. Oh, 6 to 8 hours a day. I mean, that would be like a compression time. You could do that. I think that would be, that would be a lot. You'd be absorbing a lot of Linux, and I imagine there'd be some diminishing returns on that because you can only put so much of something in your head per day, I think, before you start to get tired and you have to think about other things. I would definitely tell you to spend a lot of time with the systems, but I don't know if I would commit to 6 to 8 hours a day. That might be a lot. And then yeah, the other thing is just try to do a little a day. Don't try to do. I know some guys are trying to like crash it all on the weekends, and it's like that's probably okay. But if you spend a little time a day with this stuff, you're gonna get a lot further along than somebody who's just doing. Um, yeah, you don't want to just be somebody who's doing whatever. Okay. Present full times. All right. All right. We should be fine with since yesterday. So the system tends to remember that, and like if I go to one of these other servers that have been up like over a day. Oh, yeah. I'll see all these logins. Now, thing is, I see all the logins from root. So what I really want with this I don't want those. Oh, is this one of those? This one of those? We're doing that right? Two into one. Two and into one? I always forget this one. There it is. I think that looks right. I always forget how that one works, but yeah, that should be two and everything into one. Yeah. And then we're getting rid of it, so we're skipping that output because there's literally nothing in there that we would want. Okay. So that will probably be the command we need to use for over here. And then we'll go over here. You guys want to see Ranger? There's Ranger. He was up earlier. He was up and about earlier. But he's there he is. This little stuff on the otherwise completely black. This is a very dark black rug. That stuff that you see on there that you're like, what is that? That is little like Ranger's tufts of hair are falling out. I think it's because it's warming up outside. But yeah, that's Ranger check. You guys want to see Ranger for a little bit? We can hang out and see that. Oops, I did not. Not mean to do any of that shit. Meant to be over here. Call that logins. And then what we're gonna do actually the thought occurs to me, I need to do this from no, we should be hold on, we should be fine. Hold on. So okay. I just gotta make sure I got the right key. I knew I had the key down on this server. I just didn't know where I had it. All right, so we'll be able to get in there. We'll make sure that the system's using the right key for the playbook and stuff. And then yeah. So what this playbook's gonna do is it's gonna check. So it's gonna check all of these things, right, on the system. And then it's going to make some decisions on, and it's going to build out a template for the Bastion to use. And then when users log in, their bastion.sh is going to be built based off what's happened here. And you're only going to get the ability to go into a system that doesn't have a user in it currently. So right now, if any of you guys have ever logged into our system, right? It goes like this. You go into our system and you come in as, like, let's say MC Hammer, right? And I don't remember his username or password, so I'm gonna have to go find it. But you try to go into this user right here, right? And let's pull this up here, and let me go grab my. No, I have it right over here somewhere. Yeah, here's the passwords for this week or for this quarter. And here's the MC Hammer password. And now when I go in, I'm on a jailed user, and I just get this list of 1 to 24. And I can go to, let's say, 24, right? And I'll be sent over to Hammer 24, and I'll be happy. But what if somebody was already on that, which we were earlier? Or what if I've rebooted it and it's not there for 5 minutes? Well, what would happen to you, because you'd just be in this little loop right here and then you get kicked out, is you would get kicked out completely from the system and be booted. And I don't want that. I want it to be, yeah, Chris, that's what I'm kind of doing. So my plan for this is kind of, if I were to just go over here and draw this out, is this, right? It's going to kind of look like this. If we were to say, so steps for Bastion process, and then this will be runs every minute on the Bastion node. 1, checks servers for users, right? If user, don't put in list, right? That's a note there, right? 2, checks check servers for logins. If login, server is going to, but if login, but no current user, server needs to be rebooted, right? Don't put in list. 3, yeah, I can make this a little bigger for you guys. Hold on. So as a general idea, this is if user present, don't put in list, right? And then, so check servers for users. If user present, don't put in list. Check server for logins. If login but no current user, server needs to be rebooted, right? So that's kind of like my high level thoughts. And then it's generate list of servers and put in new var chroot bin bastion.sh, right? Generate list servers, put in new var bin bastion. So this would run every minute on the Bastion node, and it would check for users on them, and then it would only build the list. So then what would happen is generate a list of servers, and your list of servers would be like, it would be like systems admin labs, right? And that would be 1, and then that would just, you know, sends you to a good Rocky box, right? And then it would be system security engineering labs, and that would send you to a good hammer or server, right? If we're being technically correct, server is the best thing. Fenrir is the great said install OpenBSD. I mean, yeah, we could. All right, so System admins labs, security engineering labs. Those are things that already exist. Just the Bastion doesn't. It's the Bastion isn't smart right now, right? It just gives you a list, and then if you go to 1 or 24, we're kind of basing it off of general entropy, whether or not, and there's nothing to clean up. Um, there's nothing to clean up these servers, like if somebody's been using it. So this one right here, this check will deconflict. If a user's present, we just won't even use that server. That server will be considered closed off. Well, and actually there's one check that happens before this. We'll go fix all these lines down. One, check that the server is even available, right? Check servers for users, so we got to check all these things, and then we get down to the end, and generate list servers put in var bin, and then we'd probably say, we don't want to generate a report out. We'd probably have something that would generate a report and send if any of the nodes are down, maybe like once a day or something. We actually already have that running in the shell. If any of you guys have been over here, well, if you're here and you go look down in our sandbox, we have things that tell us if the nodes are unreachable, right? Like there's things that tell us if the system's down. We also got to update this part of this because this is not correct. This assumes that there's logins to the server, but only if the server hasn't been rebooted. Because if the server's been rebooted, it's a our servers are stateless nodes. So when they go down and come back up, there's nothing on them. So this check that I use for this isn't really very good. The login check that I'm currently using, it's not very good. And that looks like really? What the hell's wrong with me? All right, this one's down here. Oh, well, apparently I can only go that far. Yeah, this check is only... Yeah. Which is funny because I took this from the older systems where now we can just say last since today. We could probably get away with... That's fine. That's fine. That's not a big deal. Fine. We're fine with that. Okay. That'll work for us for now. That's good enough for government work, as it were, right? We're not doing government work here, but that's good enough for what we want. We're a little closer over there so we can see all the stuff we're looking at for this week. All right, it's good enough. We'll sit here and hang out and watch the cluster for a little bit while we're chatting. But yeah, that's my general idea of what I'm going to be doing here. I'm sitting here like, I just don't want to do it. Yeah, Chris. Well, I mean, I want to set that up, and then I just sit around and think about it. I'm like, there's all these challenges. I'm just gonna sit around and not do it. But that is a thing. I mean, I do have to work through that and get that all done. I've just been kind of being lazy about it. So I've been saying I need to do it. The other thing I need to do is I do need to start the documentation for the next week of the systems engineering. So systems engineering this week will be pulling labs out of system or pulling logs out of systems, and we're going to do rsyslog. And rsyslog's fine; it's a great tool. Old workhorse, right? Just works forever. And then we'll go with the more modern version of doing it, which will be like Promtail to Loki, and that one's good. That one's a good workhorse too. But then we're going to look at how to pull information out and look at information on systems from there. So that's what we're going to be doing. That's on Saturdays, in case anybody's wondering. We meet and do. Actually, I'll show you guys all the things that we kind of have going on for meetings right now. We got a fair amount of in our events here. We got a study group coming up. That'll be tomorrow for people who want to study and get. So the security engineering is a 10-week course that we run, and we're in week 5 right now, so people are sitting around studying for that. We got a Bash study group for people that want to get a little better at Bash and scripting tricks and those kind of things, so that's what that is. We interact with Linux through Bash for the most part, so understanding how Bash works is pretty critical for most of you guys. Then we got our Linux sysadmin course, which is always super popular, and the security engineering course. Those are both on Saturdays. Those are free. You just come and hang out and look at what all the work is, right? There's a lot of work. Writer's Room is on Sundays, so those are people that are putting the books together. The books are free, so they're great. And then we're going to start doing our academic research sessions coming up in about a week and a half or so, and that's for people that want to maybe do the academic thing or see what that looks like. If you've never done any research or any of that kind of stuff, come in there and you can start to mess around with that. Yeah. So we'll do that. And then we got our conference coming up. Our conference tends to have, it doesn't look like there's that many people coming yet, but this tends to have like hundreds of people come to it. So these are free virtual conferences where I have a bunch of people come and speak. The tentative list of people speaking right now is right here in conferences. This is a tentative list, and the times aren't right. But I'm going to kick it off like I normally do with Why Engineering. Timodius is going to come and talk about data analytics. He's running a $150 million project for his insurance company right now. He's the primary data analytics guy on that, so he's got some interesting things to talk about. Like we were talking last night, and he had to pull 150 KPIs from a whole bunch of stuff all together. And you go, 150 key performance indicators? Yes, he had to do all that to look at this initiative for how they're going to, better all these different things, right? That's a thing that he does. We don't have somebody for this time slot yet, but that's also not the right time there. And then this is all in Pacific time as well. Salty Catfish is coming to talk about pro framing. And then we need to get somebody to kick off Sunday morning. But then we got Control Byte, Sending Ground, and King Buns. And if you know these guys, they're all doing this work, right? They're all people that have been doing this work for some time. They're all leaders in their respective areas. And they're coming to tell you guys about how to get into that stuff, how to do some of this stuff, point you to resources and that kind of stuff. And we actually have some of the old talks up there on our YouTube, and people really like their talks, the different people that are here. So that's something to look at there. All right, but anyways, that's where we're going there. I'll keep working on this a little bit. I'm being lazy. I need to then go find, where is my, that's tasks. RCH root, bin. So we always give these, that's fine. We're going to have to generate these, right? And we'll generate whichever devices are the ones that are in the list that are correct. So grab all this real quick. did just put it here. All right, well, we'll make the Ginger 2 right here then. What is that? We'll just do it like that. It doesn't, whoops, well, BI is not a command. All right. We are okay with all these. Let's go up here. Let's get all these lines out of here. Okay. You're being sent to we'll add whatever node is here as we go. And we'll do that based on probably we'll figure out what node is here in a little bit. Case and input. So let's fix this. So 1 will be system. 2 will be Linux. 3 will be, probably add some more later. Exit. Okay, that's a good start. 1, 2, 3. This will be sent to we'll call them this for now. Right, we don't know what it's going to be yet, but we don't know what the variable's actually going to be yet, but and then this one will be you just exit. Right? So you choose to exit and you get an exit. We give 10 seconds, that's always the same. We allow up to 2 characters to be input, that's always the same. That'll be a good enough little template for now. We will add some decision making. Admin.node and security.node. Yeah, okay. Because here's the thing. You can either make decisions as you generate Jinja templates, or you can make decisions over in Ansible. You can, it says Ginger. It's a Jinja. Yeah, it's a Jinja template. Yeah, there we go. It's funny how my closed captioning, it definitely like learns during a session, and I'm pretty sure it'll say Jinja from now on. Nope, it won't. But it definitely forgets between sessions. Well, it's not doing anything right now, right? Anyways, but all right. So we're gonna generate that. Yeah, Ginger template. Yeah, which is funny because I'm Irish, so I grew up with 2 brothers that have like the brightest red hair you've ever seen on a human. They grew up with bright red hair, like almost orange. It's so bright red. So yeah, two of my 4 brothers have bright red hair. So they're actually the 2 that are in tech too. That's kind of funny. Yeah, so what'll happen here then is normally right now what you're doing now if we just go back here and look at it, you're picking a Rocky server and you're just hoping nobody else is on 16 and we're just sending you over. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this thing, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to have this thing be a little more smart, and every 2 minutes or every 1 minute when it runs when it runs the playbook, it'll go and it'll pop a new node for admin here based on the fact that nobody's been into it. And then also if servers have been logged into and nobody's been in there for 4 hours, we'll also set the reboot on them. and then we'll cause that node to reboot, so then it's more clean the next time. Random walks. We have a Discord, so we don't have a Slack. But if you're in Discord, the best place to start is down here. If you want to do the courses in beginner, start here. And this walks you through. Here's the Linux sysadmin courses and the security engineering courses. They are 100% free. There's nothing, like, we don't charge anything for anything going on in Discord, right? The books, if you were like, well, hey, I want to know about the books. Well, the books are actually here. So if you said, hey, Scott, I want the Linux sysadmin book, it's here. You can download the whole book right now. It's I think the guys are still working on it a little bit, though. But that's the book right there for the security. Sorry, that's the Linux systems admin course. This is the security book here. And I think I even have it in print mode here. So I'll go back over here and like look at it in this mode. And then you guys just have, here's the syllabus or whatever. So this is the security book. And it gives you, I think it gives you all the relevant information up front. It tells you what the book is, tells you, where the GitHub is for it, if you need to go get a hold of the raw book before it was published like this. Course description, what we're learning, what your resources are and the things you need to know how to get into, and then kind of how you connect into our system, but you do need to get a password from Discord. So the password's not out there for everybody, but the password's available if you're in Discord and want to get it. Come down here. Here's the course. We're in Unit 5 right now. So again, the security course is going to be a little hard to finish for the certificate. There's certificates that actually show up over here. Let's make sure this is working. Should be working. It takes a second. All right, hold on. This is because of CloudFront. Kind of annoying. All right, give it a second. Good old CloudFront. Nothing disappoints like CloudFront. All right, so anyways, so then you can look at how you certify if you're interested in doing that, and then you can verify. Like for me, you could go in and somebody could see that I was the Prolog admin course instructor for last year when we ran it last year. And then some of you guys that finished, there's actually, so some of the other guys that finished, right, they could show this to somebody and then they'd be able to come to the webpage and see that, yes, that person did complete the enterprise administration. So that's like the Linux systems administration stuff. And then him and some of the other guys are working on the security engineering stuff now as well. So they're also putting the book together. Again, we're all the way up in Unit 5, so they've been putting all the Unit 5 stuff in there as we've been adding more and more to it. Yeah, they're doing a real good job getting the labs all up. Also, you can look at this in any mode you want. I happen to use Coal, but you can use Rust, you can use Navy, IU, whatever that is, and also light mode. So you can look at this in any mode you want. I think I keep it on Coal because it reminds me of the mines. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I never worked in the mines, but that is funny. Anyways, this is where I would start a lot of that stuff. There's a whole lot. I know there's a lot going on in the server, but that's the easiest way, I think, to kind of simplify it down for you guys is go pick up the book, look at the book. It's free. You just go grab it on the interwebs, and then you can do whatever you want from there with it. Excuse me. All right. So what do we got going then? Yeah, we'll set our nodes. And that's bastion.sh.j2, which is a little bit much, but that's fine. Let's see, back up the current bastion.sh file. Then we'll say name, create push template to correct bastion.sh file. That file, by the way, is down in the right place. So we'll go copy. Yeah, we can do copy. And we'll do source var chroot varch root bin bastion.sh, and that will be copied. Hold on. Destination will be varch root bin bastion.sh and we could do ISO. Well, that'll be every minute then. We'll just call it dot backup. That's fine. Remote source is not. It doesn't actually matter. We are going to do delegate to localhost, and we are going to run once. Yes, or true. That should work. Okay. And then template push for the actual fix will look like this. It'll be template source will be the file that's right in here, which was bastion.sh.j2. I know the name's terrible, but I'm terrible with names. Destination is going to be var chroot bin bastion.sh, and the same two lines from up here, y2y p, right there, delegate to. So these last two steps only run on the local system, right? So push template to crest bastion sh file. Yeah, good. So we'll do that. And there we go. And the goal too of this, if you guys are wondering, like why are we drawing this out and doing these steps to do this? Well, because I have a little bit of a handle. I mean, obviously I have all the logging of everybody that's ever logged in, but I have a pretty good handle on how much the systems are being used. And I'm pretty sure that under the normal load that we have, we should be able to run on less nodes. So I just kind of put a lot of hardware, a lot of the stuff that we had into the Rocky nodes and the Werewolf nodes and said, I hope we got enough. Well, now what we're going to do is we're going to be a little smarter about it, and it's only going to set the ones that are being used, and then I think we'll be able to move the capacity down to only 5 Rocky nodes and 5 Hammer nodes, or probably just be safe, we'll do 10 Rocky nodes and 10 Hammer nodes. Well, if we do that, we still pull back 24 nodes in the cluster that we could do for whatever else we want. If we we are going to do an Ansible automation course where I show you guys Ansible more than we do in Killer Coda. However, for me to do that, I might do a lot of that stuff up in Killer Coda still, but I'd like to have you guys be able to get in and do some Ansible inside the lab as well. So that's kind of it, Don't want you guys just to have to do it up in some other environment like Killer Coda, which is still great, but I think you'll get a lot out of doing it in a lab environment that you have control of, So. But yeah, hopefully that answered the question earlier, random walks, where you guys can do, anything you want in the Discord. I say, as long as you don't get us kicked off of Discord and as long as it's not illegal, I'm really not you guys can spend as much time up there as you want, just hanging out and working with other engineers. So. Yep. This is kind of what we do around here. Let's go check here. Anything going on here? Oh, this shit's funny. All right. Yeah, and also, guys, the bot welcomes you, so the bot can be a bit salty. If you ask the bot a question in the wrong way, it won't hold your hand. It'll talk shit. It tells you how to drop caches. Don't be surprised if it breaks something. You shouldn't do this. If you do, you have bigger problems. Be careful. Yeah, that's funny. You can do this in dev systems as long as you understand the implications of what you're dropping the caches on. So I wouldn't do that in a prod system ever, but just because you can institute or introduce stability. But the point is, you guys can ask bots questions if you want to. Just know that it might not be very nice. How's it going, Quartz? Over on the Twitch side. It said Quartz. I said Quartz. Who knows? Who knows with this closed captioning, what kind of trouble it's going to get me in. Yeah, and we're getting real close to 4,000 people in the Discord too, so that's one of the other things I'm trying to kind of hit that milestone. Our next real goal is to hit 10,000, but 4,000 is a good little. I mean, that's on the way, right? So we want people to keep showing up and hanging out and finding their way into. We had a few people this week seemed like they found their way into the systems engineering world, so that's good. Or at least systems administration, where they can move over to systems engineering eventually. That'll be a big part of it. So let's go pull. That's still running over there. Bastion fix. Okay. So now the thing about this is, when we go to run this, how are we going to test this? We're going to end up testing this live. So I'm going to take this for now, and I'm going to change this just for now. I'm going to do a little thing like this. I'm going to hit I, and I'm going to comment this out. And I'm going to hit YYP, and I'm going to say, no, make the destination just for now, this one thing that we're going to change, make that temp. We'll just go write it off to temp for now. The backup can still be the backup, because that's just going to copy each time. This is inert in our environment. But technically, since this isn't doing anything yet, I really should just be able to run this right now. Right? Because like, look what's happening. It's going to check a bunch of stuff on the servers. Cool, cool. It's going to check some more stuff on the servers. Cool, cool. We're not doing anything with that stuff yet. We're just putting it in the backpack. Then we come down here and we copy, back something up. Who cares? We'll overwrite whatever the backup is now, which, let's go make sure that that's not the name of the backup. And then the last one right here is just writing it out to some null directory that we don't really, and this is this isn't a real directory for anything that we actually configure. Let's just stay there, and then var chroot bin. All right, so we're not gonna, when we do backup, we're not gonna go over the top of anything that we're using, because we got an sh.orig, so the sh.backup shouldn't matter. Perfect. All right, so how are we gonna run this playbook? We're going to check real quick, do we have the list of all those hosts we want to hit? So let's cat etsy ansible hosts on this box. And yeah, so we got Rocky nodes. We do not have the hammer nodes in here, so that's we're gonna have to add that. And then and I'm gonna show you guys, we could have, instead of the way we did Rocky, we can do hammer like this, and then we can say hammer 1 to 24, I believe. Is that right? It looks right. Let's check. Oh, 1:25. Yeah, that's my bad. Haven't done that in a while. R:. All right. So now over here, theoretically, we should be able to right now, for fun, say Ansible playbook. Let me show you guys one other thing. If we cat Bastion update, Do you guys see how I have this environment right here? I need to fix that. Hold on. We're going to leave it as survey hosts because that's what I normally use. So survey hosts is the host file, but it's a variable. And, oh, we got to fix one other thing. I guess you don't need these there, strictly speaking, but I'm used to putting them there, so I'm going to leave it there anyways. All right. Cat bash and update. Boom, boom, boom. That's all good. Okay, so let's run this. So it'll be Ansible, playbook. We're going to need to use the right cluster key, and that should be... Ooh, what is that? I don't know what that is in Ansible playbook anymore. That's funny. Okay, where is the key file? Because I is inventory, right? Oh, private key, dash dash private key. All right, we'll do that. And cluster key, was it? You guys gotta help me out. I can never remember. Cluster key, yeah. Ansible playbook, private cluster key. And then we're gonna give bastion update.yaml. And then we need to give extra vars. And the extra vars are gonna be who we want to run this against. And we're going to say that the extra vars for the variable survey underscore hosts equals, and we're going to do just for now, let's say hammer. So we'll try this. We'll see if it'll hit all the nodes and do what we want. Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah. Key's not good. Okay. Because we don't have the right key. We have the right key. We just don't have the full name of it. It is root. .sh cluster key. All right, there we go. This will work now. Gather all the facts, but we're not going to do anything with the facts, and then we're going to create the file and then push the YAML. And then we didn't do anything with the YAML, so we really don't care. But yeah, look, it's funny. We get all these warnings because our Bastion node here is so old, but that's not that big of a deal. Check current user. Yeah, these are checks that don't really matter to us, but all right. Yep, didn't get to the end. So yeah, that file one more time. There's a little thing you got to do here. If you're just checking stuff, that failed when false, because we don't care if it failed or not. We're using it to check. Also, I don't like calce. It just pops up. Chris, I will never. No. So this is just the users coming in. They'll never know. They're just gonna see. They're just gonna see sysadmin, and then they're gonna go to whichever one is set for them. They're not gonna actually pick anything anymore. No user will pick anything anymore. Every server will be considered ephemeral to them, if that makes sense. Users will no longer understand the background except if they have watched this and done whatever. Admin. Oh yeah. Well, those of course those are gonna fail. That makes sense. Because I don't have anything in that variable yet. So just the last part, the bastion.sh.j2. This part failed because I don't have these defined, but that's fine with me. That we got down to here at least, if that makes sense. So yeah. So now we got to figure out. We'll set these. And then as it gets down to this part, it'll drop an admin node or whatever. And again, we could do this one of two ways. We could either do it actually in the Jinja template. We can set this stuff before we even get into the actual bash. We could just have the Jinja make the decisions for us and use some for loops and such, and some decision stuff. Um, or we can do it up in Ansible. So that's something I got to think about. But this is the part that broke right at the end. Everything else worked. We just needed this part, but we understood that this was going to break because these are placeholders. We didn't set an admin node or a security node yet. They will come from the pool of backend systems, which, by the way, will run Hammer and Rocky like that. Now this will go against all 44 nodes in the cluster for right now. And when we shrink them down, it'll just go against... Oh, hold on. There's one other thing that has to happen. The other thing that has to happen is we got to set this to the forks of 20, so it's doing 20 servers at a time. So it'll be much faster now, because it's hitting it's going 20 at a time instead of 5 at a time, and the 5 at a time was slowing us down greatly. So. And we don't care about warning messages because, one, we're going to be getting off this server sooner than later, and two, it's going to be running as a batch in the background on a cron tab, so we're never going to see those messages anyways. So as long as the messages aren't warning us that it's broken, which would be red, those are just warnings, and they're warnings are there for us to ignore, right? I'm mostly just kidding, but kind of true. So we'll check if there have been any logins, and then we'll do some logic with that. Yep. Set the backup, and then we failed right at the end again, which is we expected to fail right here. All right. So that's kind of that part. That's what we're kind of messing around with there in the lab, just doing some Ansible to make this process better of giving users a node. Because again, the users don't care what node they go to. They just go to a admin course is Rocky, or they go to Hammer course is security. And in the future, we can call that admin course or security course if we want to. We can modify what these are called in the future. It would probably change too much in the book, so we don't want to do all that crap. But in general, the point is we shouldn't get too hung up on things. I was rewatching Iron Man 2. I don't know if you guys remember Iron Man 2, but there's a scene where the guy from the other company, what is that other tech company? And they're terrible. I think they're actually called Hammer Industries, which is funny. Hammer Tech, because they're terrible. And they he tells them learn to let go, and then the bad guy Mickey Rourke's character says, "Hey man, learn to let go." And like he changes it up on him, and that's kind of how I feel. Like there's the things that you shouldn't care about as an engineer. Like you should I don't care the host name of this machine. And then there's things you should care about. Oh, I do care about the host name of this machine being correct in DNS in our enterprise system, because in that case that's how it's referenced. And if you're not going to call it by the right name there and get it by the right IP address, then that is a problem. But, there's other things to worry about than some of the other stuff. So, warnings are about to be ignored, said the engineer. Well, that is actually funny because they had tried the test a few minutes before, right? And then they said, oh, that wasn't terrible enough. Let's do it again. And that's when they blew Chernobyl. In case you guys ever read about how that happened. It wasn't super pretty, but... Yeah, the first Iron Man's good. Rewatching all three of them, I always thought number 2 was my favorite, but I think number 3 is actually my favorite because there's 2 scenes in number 2 or in number 3 that are better than ones in the other ones. At least let me put it that way, Chris. But I will tell you, the premise of 3 is absolutely just, and I can't use the word because people get mad. It's absolutely the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I mean, he threatens the people, and then he goes to his house and literally has 0 defenses anywhere. When he could have just said, okay, house party protocol right then, and just had like 100 Iron Man suits sitting outside of his house. But then it wouldn't have been a very good movie, so because it would have been the end of the movie because the 3 helicopters would have come up and just got blasted from like 5 miles away, and any missiles they did manage to get off would have just had a suit go in front of them, and they would have never hit his house, and it wouldn't have mattered. But you know, and you say, well, how do you know? Well, because he had them already. All he had to do was crane out to be able, all he had to do was dig out to be able to use them. He had them. He had them as house party. He was ready to fight with them. So it's dumb. The first Iron Man was all right though. I did like that one, but I always thought 2 was my favorite from the past. So, Golden Age of Marvel movies. Yeah. My favorite one of all of those, because I've always liked Joss Whedon anyways, is the first event. I think the first Avengers movie is it's probably, I mean, and that's saying a lot for Joss Whedon, because that guy's done a lot of like very well known Hollywood work. I think that's probably his best work, is the first Avengers movie. Because it's like you had so much crap to work with, and you, like, when I say crap, I mean you had so many people to try to make happy with so many different things, and he still came out with a really good story. So I really like the first Avengers as far as that goes. They get okay and they're whatever, but there's, most of us grew up with at least the comics of that stuff, So, most of us watched in the 90s the X-Men cartoon, which was like probably the most popular one for me, growing up, was that X-Men cartoon from the 90s. Even though Jubilee was like the most useless character of all time. She just shot fireworks that didn't do anything. It's funny because like I see that, and I can see that on channels, and I can go back and like watch that, and I'm like, I'm not gonna go watch that again. I have a better memory of it than I'm sure it actually was. But I do like when people go back and like remaster it with different voices, and you get like, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. That's one of the funniest little skits I've ever seen in my life, where he's just being the Juggernaut running around, but it's from that original, well, not original, but from that 90s show. So hilarious stuff. Yeah. That's like one of those like YouTube things you pull up every now and then and just laugh at, kind of like Charlie the Unicorn or any of the Strong Bad stuff. You go and watch them every few years and go, yeah, that's still pretty funny, and that's how the Juggernaut one is. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, that's fine. Go look up Juggernaut bitch on YouTube sometime, and you'll probably think it's pretty hilarious. It's I'd say it's probably about a 2-minute sketch or so. But all right, where are we at here? We just hit an hour. I'm pretty beat today, but we will keep working on this Bastion fix. We'll keep working on it, and we'll keep we'll get it. The last thing right now, the only thing that's failing in here is actually just a thing that we know is going to fail until we get that part written, that logic added in, and then we'll have the Bastion going correctly. And one other thing we really need to do in our cluster is move out this space, because this poor box is a CentOS 7 box, so I can't even update him anymore. So I need to rebuild him as a Rocky 9 box, and then I'll at least be able to get him supported out for the next few years, I mean, I don't even think this poor guy, I don't even think he knows. When's his last active working update? This is gonna be bloody. This is gonna be terrible. Yeah, he hasn't patched correctly for quite some time now. Almost a year. Yeah. So gotta keep up. Gotta get this guy up. Oh, also Ryan ran an update, probably installing something. We can go look. We can actually go look at any of the history, right? Sodium history list. What did R Long install on my system? Oh, Z Shell, really? Where is he at? If you guys don't know who R Long is, he's one of our regulars. He's got root on my cluster for reasons. He's a programmer lead, and he does some stuff for me. So, all right. Or he does some stuff in the cluster when we need it. So, all right, guys, I'm probably gonna call it then, and just know that we're gonna keep building this stuff out. All this stuff is free. I am gonna make. I was thinking about this last night. we make it every effort to make all of the course stuff completely free, and it's going to stay that way. But I am going to make some stuff that's going to be very, very focused on just this, and it's going to be very, very much just like all of this, but just study material. So it'll almost be like a just a focused rework of the courses, and that'll probably be just up on YouTube and probably just for like members. So I'll do something like that. But that's still in the works. I mean, that's going to be like, tens of, maybe even hundreds of hours of redo. Well, maybe not hundreds of hours, but it'd probably at least be in the many tens of hours of re-recording all that stuff. We'll keep all the other stuff up still. Don't worry, guys. I'm not getting rid of anything. But I will probably be adding some of that other stuff, just so people have options of like watching this stuff without all the noise, without all the other stuff that I'm doing. Because a lot of times, even if you watch any of those, I'm talking to people and we're doing other stuff, but I'm trying to stay on task. So I'm going to eventually move it down to where it's just, we'll have this distilled down version of just the raw courses that people can do. There's also been some questions around, we do stuff with LeanPub, where if you guys have never seen LeanPub, I've got a book out there. And one of the things people always ask me is if they can get one of these certificates in between our courses. Like, hey, I don't have time to do the course, but could I do something else and get something similar? Because when we finish the courses, we give out these certificates. If you guys haven't seen them, they look like this. Treasure put them together originally, but they look kind of like... We always release the blue ones, so I always show you guys the orange ones on screen, but they look like this. And they have this verify code goes to that page I showed you guys earlier on our webpage. So we're gonna have this for people. But then what happens is people ask me, hey, when we're not doing the 16-week course, could I go do something else? And we won't give you guys certs that look like these, but we'll have kind of like an intermediary cert for people that want to just kind of like... I almost want to think of it like clepping the course. Does anybody know what a clep is? Not clapping, clep. It's where you used to just like complete a course without having to sit and do the work. I don't know if any of you did that in college or anything, but you're like, oh, I think I'm good enough at that math that I don't have to take the course. And then you would go and sit for like an hour, and if you did well enough, you wouldn't have to do the math. I don't know if any of you guys remember doing that, but that's the thing. So we'll have kind of like a way for you guys probably through like a LeanPub to do that if you want to. It won't look exactly like this, and it won't look exactly like the blue one. I never really show the blue one because that's the one that we actually release. But if you guys ever see any of this stuff, this is where. So it'll be kind of like it's like a lower version of this, but it'll have your name on it, and it'll say Prolog like Linux admin course, but it won't be the exact one. So it's kind of like an intermediary version of it for people that don't have time to make it to the full course, that one would probably be through LeanPub. That is something that would cost something, but that's that would be like additional. That would be for people that are like, oh, I just want to go get that cert. It doesn't really matter, Not for people like all of our Discord stuff. All of this stuff is for I want to help people who aren't in the industry get in the industry, which is why we keep this stuff down at like a nothing cost. But for somebody that's in the industry already or wants to do it, I have no problem charging those people some money because they're already in the industry. But for you guys that are like trying to get in the industry, we're not trying to make any money off you. We want you guys to be able to do this stuff and find a group that hopefully you can just hang out with, like, and not feel like we're trying to make any money. And you can ask anybody in the Discord. Go in the Discord and ask, has Scott ever asked for any money in the Discord? And they'll tell you nope. In fact, if you ask the word Scott, it'll tell you the little bot's making fun of me anyways. So because that bot can't let me be happy. That's the problem. That's the problem with the Discord. The bot won't let me. Yeah, there's Ranger. Hold on. We'll keep it on Ranger for a little bit while I'm ranting here. I was telling the guys earlier, these little spots that look like spots on the carpet, that's not dirt. That's not us being filthy downstairs. That's a very black carpet, and you're seeing the tufts of Ranger's hair that kind of fall out of him because it's getting warm again in Phoenix. So those are actually, like, I was down there looking at them earlier. And this carpet, like, it's a very slick carpet kind of, so it is not very conducive. Like when you try to When you try to use our little vacuum on it, it doesn't work very well. Our vacuum works great on everything else, but not this carpet. So I just have to go pick those up. They're like seriously like little tufts of his hair. It's kind of funny because it just falls out from like his shoulder and stuff as it warms up. Because Phoenix is getting up in the, I think today's supposed to be like 88, and then we're gonna start getting up in the higher. We'll be in the 110 Fahrenheit here soon, probably by the end of this month. So. Oh, and then I'll be crying about how hot it is every day. I'm just kidding. It's not that bad. All right. Anyway, so we'll keep working on this stuff. I'll let you guys know how that update's doing on the lab, and also when that Bastion thing gets set up, I'll probably drop it in our. So we have this stream setup, which is the original Bastion setup. I'll probably write that in to be part of this deploy. So then people that want to use it can use that as part of their deploy if they so choose. So I'll work it into this GitHub. Anyway, so we have stuff on the GitHub that you guys can go play with and do pull requests and all that good stuff. So, all right. But I appreciate you guys coming by, and I will see most of you probably either later tonight. I'll be down in the Discord. I'm mostly in the Discord all day anyways. Or I will be around if anybody wants to kind of hang out. So, all right. Take care, guys. I will see most of you later.